on the afternoon show, we do love to invite back old friends of the show. It's an absolute joy always to speak to my next guest. He's got a new album out. He's on tour in the UK. Then he's off to Australia, and we'll also be having a chat to him, hopefully, about his choir challenge as well. It is, of course, Mr. Charlie Landsborough. Charlie, welcome to the show.
Hiya, Mark. It's great to be with you again, mate.
It's wonderful to hear your dulcet tones, sir. And now you've got a busy year lined up.
Yeah, it's great. You know, it's a busy that you're glad to take on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To tour around the UK, seeing all our friends and everything, doing the thing that I like most, and then hot on the heels of that, we're off to Australia at the end of April. For about 5 or 6 weeks, and I've got great friends there. It's like going to family, you know.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And a wonderful country. I love Australia.
Yeah, and they love you, of course, don't they? So, because they've been big fans of yours right from the get-go, really.
Well, when I first went there, I said to Tony Allen of Foster Allen, I said, "What are the Aussies like, Tony?" And he said, they're much like the Irish, which I thought was a rather strange thing to say. But having been there a number of times now, I know exactly what he meant. They've got the same capacity for enjoying life as the Irish do. What you see is what you get. There's no class, there's no pretentiousness. Just a great place to be, and a lot more space, you know, we're a bit restricted here.
Absolutely, yeah.
Terms. But to drive, you can drive some places for hours and hours on end and never see anything, you know, never see any other vehicles and that, but great place to go to.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, before you get to Australia, you're on tour in the UK.
Brilliant, yeah.
And you're touring off the back of the new album, of course, which is called Silhouette. Now, tell us a little bit about the new album, Charlie.
Well, it's got 16 tracks on it, so hopefully it's value for money. And I always said, if you can't get them with quality, get them with quantity. So there's 11 songs of my own there, and the record company said, "Charlie, can you do some country covers?" So we picked some songs that I really like City of New Orleans and stuff, and we've done a version of them, and the rest of it is a real mixture, because you've got the ballads that people know me for.
Yeah.
You've got the slightly medium tempo country songs. You've got a couple of rocky things on there, and there's one track which I said sounds like Ravi Shankar meets Riverdance, because you've got like an Irish Bodhrán type backing, and then over the top of it we've got this wonderful Indian flute. With the wonders of technology now, you can send a track, as we did, to India and get somebody to put a flute down on it, and then you can send a track across to America, and we've got some fantastic harmonica playing from a bloke in the States. So I'm surrounded by good people on it, you know. I just hope people like what we've done. Oh,
I'm sure they will. I mean, we did a feature on the album on my New Tradition show last week, and the response was as we would expect. People they enjoy the warmth and the sort of the emotion of your music, apart from anything else, Charlie. But it is an album that sort of, you know, from the very first track, A Very Fine Line, which is a smashing track, right from the get-go. It grabs you. And
well, I had great fun doing it. And, as I say, I've got fantastic musicians on it. I said the only musical duffer on there is me.
We're not having that. We're not having that.
No, it's true. It's true. I've got my own sort of, Pete, who produces the album, has played piano and done backing vocals and put bass down. John Pettiford produced some of the tracks. He's the guitar player in the band, a phenomenal guitar player. My own pedal steel player is on it. And then we've enlisted a string section where Pete flew over to Kidderminster to lay that down. And the strings are lovely on the tracks that they used on. So when I go back, and because I send them these tracks now, and they sound, I'm hopeless with technology, and they used to call my tracks the White Noise album, because all you can do is and my Scouse voice in the background.
Right.
But when I go in and we lay down a basic track, get the key right and everything, and then I disappear, and when I go back, it's a bit of a revelation to hear what all these great musicians have done with my little songs. You know?
Yeah. Well, as I say, I think modesty, of course, forbids. But I know that they're a bit more than just little songs, and they bring a huge amount of pleasure, not just to your fans in the UK, but all over the world as well. Now, tell us a bit about this choir challenge, then.
Yeah, totally the idea of my manager, Ken. And I thought, what a great idea. Choirs have become very popular, and there are choirs all over the place. And he said, why don't we have a choral challenge where we get people from different areas to enter. Yeah. And to enter, they pay a nominal sum, which all goes to children in need.
Yeah.
And then we pick the winner of that area, and they come on stage wherever I'm performing, and they do 2 songs, one of mine and one of their own. And when it's all finished, we pick the overall winner, or somebody does, and we give them £1,000. So they're getting the opportunity to perform in front of my audience.
Yeah.
And also the possibility of winning something, and children in need will gain. And we'll hopefully bring in some people who've never heard of me, and have come along to listen to the music.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's a fabulous idea, and a lot of work for somebody.
Yeah, I mean, my manager, Ken, well, he's my brother-in-law as well.
Yeah.
He works incredibly hard, and when I consider what he's doing for me now, I mean, years ago they used to have, I think there was about 4 people working on my case for putting tours together and this, that and the other. Ken does it practically totally on his own,
Yeah, yeah.
So he does a phenomenal amount of work. He does the fan club bulletins. He books all the tours. He looks after all my accounts. And the wonderful thing is, he's a man of great integrity. I never check anything he does, which people would say is ludicrous. Yeah. But he's built his whole life upon his trustworthiness and his integrity. And everybody who knows him said, if Ken Davis tells you something, you can bet your life on it.
Right.
I subscribe to that, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we'll say a big thank you to Ken for all the work he does on your behalf, because I know that the actual touring is something that, I guess, the live performances are one thing. The actually touring between the gigs is a whole other thing, isn't it, Charlie?
Well, it's actually, we have quite a laugh actually, because I've told you before, we travel in a motorhome, me and my wife, and my son, and my mad Northern Irish friend. And when we have a day off, we sort of pull into a caravan site or something, and we go and see the local sites, and we can stop and have a fry up at 2 in the morning if we want. And whereas in hotels we might be arriving at 3 or 4 in the morning, they'd be throwing you out at 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Now we can sort of pull up and sleep all day if we want,
Yeah.
So there are some horrendous trips which we've made. I mean, we made one last time from somewhere in the northeast, way up into the upper reaches of Scotland, and I think I drove for a fair bit of the stint, and we got there about 9 in the morning,
Yeah.
So that can be a little bit tiring, but I can put up with that for the joy of doing what I'm doing, and for the people it brings me into contact with. That's a small price to pay. Yeah,
and of course the audience is, all over the country, and as I say, all over the world. You bring in an audience that really appreciates what you're doing, and they're there because they love the music as well as the man.
Well, they're lovely people, and some people come up to me almost apologetically. I'm sorry to disturb you. I say, listen, love, I spent my life hoping people would disturb me like that, and I really genuinely like people, and I've made great friends through it. And somebody once said, Charlie Landsborough hasn't got fans, he's got friends, and that's a nicer way of looking at it. And they're so kind to you. They're very faithful and loyal. And they keep coming year after year, and they surround you with kindness. It's a real blessing they are to me.
Absolutely. Well, long may that continue, Charlie. Well, all your friends here in the Midlands, we wish you well on the tour. I know you're down in Leicester right at the beginning of the tour, I think.
We are. I haven't been there for years and years.
Yeah.
I think I've only done that place once. What a lovely venue and all. So I'm looking forward to it. And I remember when I first went down to Birmingham, you mentioned the Midlands. One of the times I was playing there, and I said, just tongue in cheek, I said, it's great. I think I was in the Alex in Birmingham. I said, it's lovely to play to a crowd of people who speak as badly as I do. And thankfully, the Brummies have got a great sense.
Oh, it is, when you speak with our accent, you've got to.
I love the accent. I love accents, full stop. I
Yeah.
just saw the British Isles just listening to people talk.
Well, that's we of course the bridge is based in the Black Country, and they do say the difference between the Black Country accent and the Birmingham accent is essentially if in the Black Country they say I'm going down the pub, and in Birmingham they say can I come too? So
Very good, yeah.
that's it. But it's yeah. I mean, it's always a joy to speak to you, Charlie. We wish you all the very best for the tour, and rest assured we'll be featuring your latest album, Silhouette, which comes out. It's released on the 25th.
25th, that's right, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll be featuring that on New Traditions and on the afternoon show here.
You're a gentleman, mate. It's a friend to me, and I appreciate it.
Well, we aim to please, and I have to say, it's no hardship to play great music.
God bless you, mate.
And you have a great tour.
I'll do my best, mate. And if you ever see me, you make sure you come up and say hello, and I can buy you a pint and shake your hand and thank you in person.
Oh, that sounds like a plan. always a good plan.
No to that. It was the drink bit that.
I cannot tell a lie. You wouldn't believe me if I did, would you?
No.
Charlie, it's great talking to you, mate, and it's always a pleasure. I'll edit that down. Take out the bits where I'm talking. And keep the bits in the bits that you're talking about. But it's always a joy to speak to you, sir. And
you too, mate.
And we wish you all the very best. Now I'll put a link on our website to your Children in Need thing, so that and we'll do a little piece on that for you as well to push that for you.
That's smashing, Mark.
No problem at all. And you have a great tour.
Thanks a lot, mate.
All right. Take care. Ta-da. Ta-da.